Thank you, James. So yeah, I arrived last night and getting used to the time zone, and your wonderful weather. It's not like that in the other part of the world. I really want to be here. Thank you, Prosperity Media, for inviting. And I'll be covering the topic of content for people and for Google. So for humans and search engines, how to write it, topics, make sure both user and search engine read your content properly. A few words about SEMrush. So we are now already a huge company, used to be a small startup. I joined, it's already my 6th year or 7th year at the company. And we have more than 50 years worldwide, and Australia is the third country, which is why we always, every year we come here and then we ensure that you guys stay up to date news in the industry. Local presence, so that's where our team is, and then we have local presence too. Our team are constantly in Australia, 365 days a year. How we've grown, and then the reason why, as I will be showing also, that we invested a lot in content tools, and that's where we basically, you see the growth of the tools, and that's what we invest most of the time in, and that's workflow, just to ensure that content for people while using it for search engines. There I move on to what we've developed and how we see content. So there are different content types, and then depending on the content type, you would think of different ways to share it. So just writing content doesn't work. You always have to think of platforms you're going to share it. So if you go for visual and video, then probably you don't think as much about search, but you think of social media. And if you think of text, or if you think of mainly text, it's Google. PDFs, that's mostly lead magnets. Google reads ebooks and white papers, but for example at SEMrush, like Google favors only our blog and our knowledge base. We have a lot of PDFs. Google reads them. They're crawlable, but Google doesn't like them. Google likes text, and they do like videos, and especially for YouTube, because. And then so when we analyzed the traffic of e-commerce blogs, and we actually discovered that half of all the traffic that's leading to e-commerce sites, not only the informational sites or media sites, already of over 50%. Now Google is the most important platform for your content users. And now moving on to content for people and for Google. When we think of how to write content for users, then we think of a catchy title, images, then social sharing buttons, call to actions, and for them to ensure that they have a place where they can write comments. And then when we think of optimizing Google, that's absolutely different things. So we think of whether the website is crawlable, keyword, type links, and I would say is the purpose of them, like why they search. And a lot of companies think that way. Let's take a real estate company in Sydney. What they would optimize for is probably best price, best solution. So they would think of their own product in terms of like best apartment, top location. What people would search for, let's imagine if they're parents, they would search for the best area with best neighborhood for schools or best area with parks. So they actually would not look for best apartments. They would search topic-related queries that would somehow be connected to the value. But the keywords that company would use and the keywords that the people would search for, they would be totally different. So always offer the problem and offer the solution with your content. And make sure the content is readable, so there's clear structure, there are images, there are bullet points. Bullet points will actually help you with search too. And numbers lists as well. So make sure that it's readable and it's not just a bunch of text, but it had headlines and that there is a clear purpose, and then you outline to the audience, and then because if they would just click on your page, but you would not provide them a solution, and then within the first paragraph they're likely to bounce away. So that is the last point, is really important. Make sure that it matches also the audience reading level and expectations. And quick content guidelines. So great title. This is basically we use for social media even, and then for this works for any headline. So images, words, then use informational. And then make it short, because it also will help students, but it definitely is to read and it will help to understand the topic. This is a really, again, one structure where you describe the problem. There is a brief description, and then there may be more paragraphs, but then make sure that they're separate. That's I always like, that's how I edit text that my team sends me. Then I just want 300-400 words, then maybe a quote, maybe an image in between, but this is just human eye. We don't really like to read a lot of content that is not divided, even in books. There's structure. We analyzed content length. That's 2017 study, but it's relevant up until now. So the longer content tends to rank better. That doesn't mean that you purposely have to really create long form content, but just ensure that you have the answer there. But I would still suggest that it's 700 words or 500 words or more. That's product pages, might be probably less, but if it's informational content, that's definitely more than 700 words. And there should be a clear call to action. That is what we sometimes struggle with on our blog, where there is a really informative article, but it doesn't lead anywhere. So provided value, and then we want the users to stay on a page, we should lead them somewhere. So always think of the next step that you want the user to take. And make sure that add a social sharing bar, maybe encourage even some sharing. There are tools that you just add a quote and then you ensure that it's clickable and then it's readable. And just even asking to share as well. If you ask, don't encourage people not likely to share. If you do, share. And then we move on to content through Google. Now I'll be sharing some technical stuff. Well, I'll start with the summary. Actually, a lot of this was covered, so I will not go deeper in any of these, because this was covered in the previous presentation. But that's the technical issues. There should be no technical issues for sure. So site audit, screening is a good tool. If you use SEMrush, we have site audit there. And then make sure that there are no content intrusive ads. Right now, that's something that Google doesn't like and people don't like as well. And then now Google understands user experience, and it's part of their ranking algorithms. And so if they see that people go on your page and then they don't go anywhere, and then they spend little time on your page, then they're not likely to hire. And that's why I outlined 3. That's what the most common mistake, the losers during the ranking out, the web lose traffic. These are the most common mistakes they make. That we've analyzed it with our own SEMrush sensor. That's a free tool. You don't even have to have a login. And then it analyzes the volatility and the changes daily in SERP. And then we have this. And then you see that actually there's a lot of SERP features. The SERP now contains a lot of SERP features, not just 10 blue. And then main SERP features that we look into now in our studies is feature snippet, and people also ask. So I will be sharing actually how, what's special about them, and then sharing the ideas of how to get into them. Yeah. Yes, I can. Yeah, there's now there will be a lot of graphs. First of all, about featured snippets. So we did 2 studies, and featured snippets can be paragraphs. Just what you saw, just text. It could be lists with bullet points, and it could be tables. There is some information or comparison. We've discovered that over 90% of featured snippets, they come from top 5, and then majority is in top 3. So we need to rank in top 5 to be eligible, but sometimes, Google takes, but the majority obviously comes from the first page. And the keywords that you need to include in your content in order to, for Google to read that properly and then consider you for featured snippets. So main are the informational queries, and then majority of those, they trigger they result in paragraph. So you see that that's the majority of the paragraph. The only exception is how, so it's either the list or the paragraph. And then with prepositions, so if you use the words for, like, with, or without, then it tends to be either list or paragraph. But we do believe that well-optimized lists will outperform paragraphs with the prepositions. And then there is a lot of comparison and the price words. And then the word priced is this, it stands out. Where is this? So it's 75% featured snippets with the word priced results in list, but majority is the paragraphs. And sometimes it's pricing is a table. So that's out of all featured snippets, that's what we saw comparisons. And there is, we analyze the length and the image size, so you could optimize it better. So this is the average, the image size that you should aim for. Yeah, so it's 600 width and 425 height. It's in pixels. And when we analyze words, then the average word count is 46. That's the same as actually, so we also had a voice search study. I will be sharing only one slide from it, but in voice search study, all Google's digital assistants, the answers that they read, they have 42 words on average. So basically 40 to 46 words in a paragraph would be the ideal, not only for featured snippets, people also ask, but also for voice search. And then if you think you have a bulleted list, that you should go if you go more than 8 items, then Google is likely to not to show all of them, which actually triggers, if that's a relevant list, then it would make people go on your website because they would want to see the whole list. If you have a table, then the average is 5 or 6 rows and then 4 columns. And then a cheat sheet where we highlighted the images and then the average and the maximum for the whole. And then it's PAA is people also ask. People also ask is different from featured snippet. It's below, but it highlights a lot of relevant queries that you can use for your own content in there. And what's great is that over 96% they have the link. So it's if it's below, then it's in a lot of ways and times above all other content. So it always contains a link. So that's an opportunity to rank and encourage people to go to your website. So what's different about it's user clicks on any of those, then new question will be generated. So if I'm there and I start clicking, I will never stop. It's a black hole. So they're unlimited, and you can get a lot of ideas from it. But also, if the user is there, it's not likely. Well, they're not likely to go anywhere from there. It's just if they found something, they're gonna click. That's fresh. That's from this month. We recalculated and we released the first ones. We'll see this slide ever. And then also 50% of all the keywords, the SERPs they had people ask, and the majority of people also ask is the. So that's where you have to aim for, and then it's again from 4 to 46 words. You see that, so that's the length of the query. Even if people search for one word, then on desktop it's half of the queries, and on mobile it's 66% of the queries. So no matter for how many words the people put in the query, they will quite likely have the people also ask. And majority of keywords that trigger, it's actually from low search volume of 100 to 10,000 queries per month. It's a monthly volume of keywords that likely to trigger people also ask. And then the amount of, so there is a people also ask box, and then it has 4 or more than 4 questions in there. That's the keyword. So that's the words that have people also ask, and that's the words that obviously, if you use them in your content and in the headlines or in titles, then they're likely to trigger that include you in the people also ask box. And again, so the paragraph, average number of characters, number of words. So 45, it's always between 40 and 46. And sometimes it's really long, but it's the exception rather than. And then the list, the average is really similar to featured snippets. And then, so actually a lot of ask are featured snippets for other queries. And a bit about voice search and why featured snippets and people also ask more. Then voice search queries, 80% of the answers, they come from top 3. And then 70% of sub-features. Most of them, they come from snippets and people also ask. So that's why we also put a lot of emphasis. So it's voice search and it's top of desktop and mobile results. So how to there will be some tool screenshots, and then basically that's what recommend, and then what's the SEO experts recommend. And sure that there are some paragraphs from 40 to 60, especially designed to trigger the feature snippets, and lists with 8 or 9 bullets, and yeah, so it is again 600 with 100 pixel height. Yes. And there are several tools that will help you with feature snippet, and people also ask. So that's a free tool, Answer the Public, and that's our topic research. It's kind of how I say it. It's Answer the Public on steroids, because we added all our data into it to ensure that we have good filters with the volume and a lot of questions that you can pull. And that's how we basically, what we recommend is that you start with analysis. You can use any tool, not only SEMrush. So there's topic research or Answer the Public, keyword research tools. Then once you analyze, then you have, that's where we start giving ideas on how to make this content to rank. We have SEO content template. You can use it manually, where you just take the topic, and then you start mining the related keywords. Then you give the recommendations to the writer about the meta description, about how long it should be, about what words to use in the title. And then you can even on that on that step, you can give your PR team recommendations of where to get backlinks from regarding on this topic. We also give this to you, and that's where you write the content. But basically, that's the step where you have to write content simultaneously for humans and for engines, and then monitor. And then once you have the content that you have published, if it performs well, then it doesn't stop there. You have to optimize and update it. That's what I just. That's how it looks in SEMrush. You have this great circle with the subtopics. So we give you answer one word in Answer the Public on SEMrush, and then you have all the subtopics. So I had some screen there. For example, there will be 2 different subtopics. Really popular subtopic on the sunscreen, that would be obviously skin cancer, and then the other one is definitely different, like SPF 30 face cream. That's 2 subtopics that we give you, and then obviously the content that you will write and the path you'll take with your content is completely different with those. And also how you can identify where the feature snippets are, or people also ask, is where I used obviously the tool that I work for. So I just entered the website and then filtered it by search features and instant answer or featured snippets. So that's how I already have the list of questions or list of keywords that have featured snippet. And then already there, you see that we take snapshot of every there's a keyword. We take snapshot for each keyword we have in a database, and so there will be people also ask box. The thing is that no tool right now gives the people also ask intelligence straight away. So you have to kind of work with the SERPs and understand where you can find that. Also, in the position tracking that we have, and I think other tools. Who uses SEMrush? Okay, some half. Okay, who uses other tracking position tracker? Okay, not many people actually. So basically, there are, I think, that some others have it as well, but what we've done is that we included the filter that if you have position tracking for your website and your competitors, you can filter the specific SERP feature that the website ranks for. That way you always can track the amount of featured snippets that your website ranks and the competitors, still competitors' featured snippets. And then, lastly, I want to share the great study about a local business in UK that used us, and then the CEO was using SEMrush, so no external help. So what the Smileworks is a dentistry in Liverpool, and they are using paid ads to and lead magnets to get the leads. Then the sales guy was calling the leads and then inviting them to the practice. They were spending a lot, and then they were not really getting the results. And there was content involved, but it was in terms of lead magnets. What he did, and the results, they basically what he did, he identified Google as a place where people already search, and then they were conscious about decisions that they wanted to make. So he identified the queries. He used topic research and keyword research to identify the most commonly asked questions. And then he took the recorder, and then he went to his doctors, asked the questions, he recorded the answers, transcribed it, put it on his website. So, so that actually made sure that he answered the main questions that the audience was asking, and the audience was already ready to make a decision. So he was triggering the specific keywords that were in the decision-making stage. So you see the traffic graph, and then they were really ranked for veneers in UK after he did this search. So obviously he also worked with the local pack, but other than that he was working only with content. So they completely killed the ads. Then they are in August last year, I think they were a bit affected by medical update, because they were still schema and the technical health of the website wasn't well, but actually kept them afloat even after the update. And so what he realized that the consumers, and now if they were driving conversation, if he wanted to drive conversation, then he ended up with a bad lead, and if he attracted people that were already ready to make a decision, and then based on that practically blossomed. So that's the checklist that they did, and so analyzing keywords, content audit, then optimizing their own snippet, and then also the important thing with optimizing your own snippet, but also maximizing real estate in SERP, where they looked not only on their Facebook, because if you search for your brand, there will only be your own snippet, but there will be your Facebook page, and then other things that are connected to you. So they optimized it as well, even their Facebook page, that also improved their star rating, and the other snippets that had references to them. So that's what, and obviously what we haven't covered is the local pack, but that's a whole nother story, like local SEO. So with that, thank you so much. I hope that was useful. And any questions? I know you guys are tired, but if you have any questions. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the slides. We'll share the slides with the organizers, and then you'll be able to get them afterwards. Thank you. Yeah. At SEO Sydney, I will be sharing our voice search study. And then on Friday, we have our education day where I'll be sharing more sharing the use SEMrush. Marina, my colleague, will be able to share the about the address and more details if anyone's interested. Yes.
Hi. So talk about tonight. I was keen to on podcasts. I know that everyone's kind of raving about podcasts at the moment. Do you think that there is potential to optimize, I know it sounds convoluted, but content or SEO voice for content towards podcasts, because there is a potential that Google will start to obviously read those when you're uploading them to your site? Is there a way, do you have any thoughts on that? Like, it's totally new medium for me, so I'm kind of still exploring it, but...
Podcast field is growing a lot, and then I don't have any exact information on how Google reads that, but I just know that they're looking into it. And then what we do personally with our podcast, we record that, we put it on our website, and then we also have a video and upload it to YouTube, then to help Google in case they would consider this content, to easily read that either in video format or in future in audio. But
do you then go and embed the YouTube video back on the page where you
yes.
have the podcast? Okay.
Yes.
And do you include transcripts as well?
Not on our page, but there's, we hope kind of that YouTube transcription would be enough for them. And also what I think with Google digital assistants, and so basically we see that video carousel was sometimes also in the voice search results. And Google was reading not from the beginning, but from some specific part in the video, which really, and then also if you Google Hub with videos, and I think video is coming increasingly important for search too, but with podcasts that's even easier for them. If you help with the transcription, then Google would be at some point happy to read it to the user. Yes?
How does the pricing structure work for SEMrush products?
It's $99 per month, US dollars. And then you have access to basically all of the tools, yes. Yeah, with site audit and then position tracking and all of the things that I've shared. Yes.
Do you have any information or insights in terms of how, for example, content of products differs to like blog posts, for example, especially where we use, for example, a short description, which is prominent, and try to avoid long descriptive text for aesthetic reasons and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, with product pages tend to have shorter description, but then you have to optimize images. And then because I now went to Melbourne Cup, so I was doing a search for what is Melbourne Cup, and then where to buy a hat. And then what is Melbourne Cup is informational query where you have long text, you have knowledge panel, and you have basically Wiki dominating the page. And then go for Melbourne Cup hats. Then it was images, and then was sponsored was ads. So I would say if you have to work with a paid team, and then ensure that maybe there is a similar page that you both are optimizing. And images would dominate the search in Google. So it's not so much the snippet still really and catchy, and then I just tweaking the snippet to make it more conversion based. There's just probably no-brainer tips, but yeah, definitely search matters. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Afterwards, I'm here. Thank you.